Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premium media podcast. Every week we get together, talk about movies, TV, and online content, and help you answer the question, do you really need to watch a horror movie this Halloween? No, you don't.
What the fuck?
You could just... Sure, horror movies are saving the movie industry, but you don't need to watch it at Halloween. That's why they're around all year round.
I'm out. The worst intro you've ever done for this podcast. Good Lord.
I'm your host, Ash Lovely. Joining me today, Don Blatt.
Watch horror movies. In fact, people are watching horror movies because, yeah, they're saving the movie industry. Horror movie fans are the only people that like to go to the cinema, apparently.
It's an issue.
It's not an issue.
It's an issue that people aren't going to see movies other than horror movies.
People have... The other genre fans, they're the issue,
yeah. All right. On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, including some studies related to horror movies, giving you some for trailers, and give you this week's top 3. Kicking things off, Dylan, you went and saw the latest Guillermo del Toro film while it's in cinemas, Frankenstein.
Hell yeah.
Starring Oscar Isaac and Jacob Elordi and other people.
Mia Goth, Christoph Waltz, Charles Dance, Lars Mikkelsen, Charlie Bradley, and that's all coming off the top of my head. Really good. Loved it. Obviously, this was one of my most anticipated movies of the year. When we did that last list of things we anticipated, I think I put it at number 1. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so I was very... It's always that thing of when you're really looking forward to something, you don't want to let you down. And this was very, very, very good. It is... I mean, it's Guillermo's adaptation of Mary Shelley's core story, Frankenstein story. He makes some small but significant changes to the Frankenstein story, if you've seen it done in many of its iterations, of course. Most notably, I would say how he treats the monster, which isn't too surprising given how Guillermo often portrays monsters within his films, and he often obviously adds a bit more I don't know, sadness to them, relatability, seeks to understand them, obviously. And I think that's the same thing that happens here. So you have Oscar Isaac, obviously plays Victor Frankenstein. The first half of the movie is the meeting people and getting to the stage where he creates the monster / the creature, whatever we're calling it. Jacob Elordi, of course, playing the monster of the creation. Along the way there's a new character in this, which is played by Christoph Waltz, that's not in the original story at all, which I found quite interesting. He basically plays a rich philanthropist of sorts who does have a backing, like a secret reason he's trying to back Victor Frankenstein's research, but he's like sort of given this role as to helping him get the lab set up, support him with the funding needed to set up such a elaborate testing area, and also helping him get bodies and stuff to experiment on to further his research. You get a lot of backstory to Frankenstein himself. There is a direct and rather obvious setup through line early in the film from how his father treats him, and his father's played by Charles Dance in this, and he's a very rough and ruthless father who was basically described as like the leading doctor at the time, and obviously tries to train Victor up to be following his footsteps, but he's training him harshly, and that direct line of how his father treats him, and then when he creates the creature, how he then treats him is obviously I think a through line that's meant to be very obvious with how he treats something that's more or less his child, although he doesn't think of it in such a way. Yeah, and when you get to obviously it does the same sort of thing that's been done in the story before, where you sort of the movie starts in. It's not Antarctica, not quite Antarctica, but like on near Antarctica, I guess. There's like this shipwrecked crew, and then they find Frankenstein out there, rescue him, sort of, and then the monsters trying to kill him, and we do. Frankenstein begins telling his story, and we do a bit of flashing backwards and forwards between what's happening there as the monster attempts to get aboard the ship to get Frankenstein, and we're flashing back to as Frankenstein's telling the story, his story and stuff. Very beautiful film, shot really, really well. All the set design is, it's this gothic, obvious gothic deco, and I did see when I was sort of going into it. I remember listening to The Big Picture like a month or two ago where they watched it, and they were saying that they didn't like the amount of CGI in it. I'm confused as to what they meant. I don't feel like there was an overabundant use of CGI, at least that I could pick up on. There are obvious times where there's some CGI. There's like a dream sequence that Frankenstein has quite often about like this angelic figure and stuff. But I mean, other than that, there's the like you can tell the ships are real design, the labs are real design, like all the bloody, gory streets of what I presume to be London, or at least something similar, as Frankenstein's like, walking through these streets, and people, being hanged in the background, and people chopping meat on the street to sell, and there's just blood everywhere. Just that shows the brutal nature of the time period, and the filth that people used to live in and stuff. Yeah, I don't mind any of that. Lost my train of thought a bit there, but no, it's very good. I think the whole cast is really good. Mia Goth is really she does a really good job as playing Elizabeth, the character from the original story. However, her role is slightly changed, so I don't want to spoil it for people who don't want to watch it, who haven't watched it yet. And then I think a similar a classic, a part in every Frankenstein movie has basically where the creature, the monster, has an interaction with a blind man who's played in this film by David Bradley, which is done fantastically. I mean, it's the best. I think it's the best version of this part of the story, simply because of the changes that Guillermo makes to the character, because it makes it the creature's storyline a lot more impactful, I think. Some people might not like, I guess, some changes towards the way the story wraps up. It's a bit more of an ambiguous ending, I guess, somewhat, even though I don't really it is changed from the book / a lot of adaptations of the story, but I think it's a better ending, especially in the year 2025. No, very, very good. I loved it. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year. I'm so happy I actually got to watch it in the cinema. I was shocked that my cinema was playing it, to be honest, but couple screenings, so glad to get in there and not have to be stuck watching it at home.
Awesome. I think, when does it come to Netflix?
I think it's like 2 weeks, maybe. November. It's early November, so maybe a week and a half.
Let me just double check.
Got like November 7th.
Yeah, 7th of November.
There we go.
So not very far away at all. So if you can't find it in your cinema, Netflix, in a few weeks. You also went out and watched the doggo horror movie, Good Boy. Does this dog turn out to be a great final girl? Is it a boy dog or a girl dog?
I believe it's a boy dog.
Yeah, damn.
Sorry to let you down. Yeah, so good. I mean, it's called Good Boy. What are we talking about?
Shit.
Like, not to. So Good
That's
Boy.
a good point.
Yeah, it is a good point, isn't it? Good Boy is a very interesting and unique film. It's was it like 70 something minutes? It definitely doesn't overstay its welcome, and I'm glad they didn't try and stretch it, because what you have is a film that follows the dog's point of view during the course of what is a horror movie, but instead of following the human characters, you're following the dog. So the movie starts with Indy, who plays Indy, which I presume is simply because it's probably easy to get a dog to do what you need it to say. If it doesn't matter, if when people are performing character, they're still calling it by its actual name. So, but like Indy's owner sort of ends up in hospital, gets sick and stuff, and then we sort of skip ahead and they move out to this middle of buttfuck nowhere, sort of in the forest, woods, whatever, house that was owned by the human characters, the owner, his grandfather who's passed away. So he moves in there. And once we move in there, some some spooky stuff starts happening. Now, this movie plays upon the idea that, dog, if you've ever had a dog and it's barking into the night, or it's barking at like a weird thing, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, what do you like? Just plays into the idea that dogs can sense or see things that humans cannot, sort of thing. And also, you hear those and read those stories about how dogs, alarm their owners that they were sick, and they went into hospital and found out that they had something they wasn't aware of. And like, it just plays into the idea that dogs have this sixth sense about them that we as humans don't. It's honestly, this is the one of the wildest things to say about this is just the idea that in all honesty, and I'm not saying this because it's a line, but Indy may be one of the best performances of the year, even compared to humans in other movies. There is something really special about this dog. I don't know how they got it to be as I don't know if they just shot a lot. Yeah, motive. Like it is really like good. Like how, especially when you're committed to doing and it's just because it's just simple things, right? It's like, because the camera's always on Indy, and for the most part, the camera also is, say you're following a human through a house, the camera is, at human height. It's like you're following the dog through the house. The camera is always at the ground, following along. So there's just all these elements of, but then Indy might be walking through the house, the owner's walking in front, Indy senses something over there, like looks, we get close up of Indy. It's not filmed in a way or even edited in a way that you're like, man, they had to do it a different way because it's a dog, and they had to like edit around all this like B-roll footage they recorded. It just plays out like a normal movie, and like they got all these normal like they filmed it. It's sort of really, from that aspect, it's really quite interesting. I was reading afterwards like what training they did, and apparently the owners, they trained the dog for 3 years for this movie, basically. Like, well, they decided they want to do the movie, the director or whatever, and then him and his partner, after began writing the movie, and then they wanted to put their dog in it, so they just began taking it to like all these dog courses for like 3 years and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's really interesting. I don't like the movie itself is fine. I don't. It is definitely that element of, I don't think it's like, I don't know. It's not even like a bad thing. It's just, it's like the story's simple enough. I don't feel like it needed to even be more. I don't know. Like it was always, I don't know if there's a different version of the movie that wouldn't be fine. Like it's probably just as good as it could be, no matter what you were going to do with this. I think it's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious to me. But about halfway through the movie, I got the twist, if you want to call it a twist. I don't really think it's a twist, more so just it becomes obvious what's actually happening. And if you don't pick up on it, then it might, by the end of the movie, you might be left going, what was that about? What was happening? But I think it's pretty obvious, like halfway through, what's actually happening. Yeah, no, it was, I mean, it's one of the most interesting things that at least come out this year, as far as, I mean, I've never seen a movie where it's a real it's like CGI or anything, so crazy. Yeah, for that point, it's worth checking out just to see the whole dog.
Yeah. Okay. Good boy.
Good boy.
Yeah. I was surprised. I didn't realize it had come out to cinemas yet. So
I think
obviously because it had a lot of buzz prior when the trailer came out. But yeah,
I think it's like limited release, like very limited release. I had one overnight quick trip to Melbourne I had to do, so that's where I watched it. By the way, it was not playing.
That makes sense.
Yeah, was not playing.
That's not where you watched Frankenstein, though.
No, I watched Frankenstein here. Yeah,
which is surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising. Yeah.
But, get what you can get. I guess to finish up this kind of horror segment, you also watched the latest VHS film, VHS Halloween.
It's crazy that they're taking 6 or 7 of these to do Halloween, but here we are. I mean, look,
it's a rights issue.
Maybe. VHS is sort of become, I think, a Shudder Halloween staple. They release one of these every year. And I'm happy for them to keep doing them because they are quite often because they're anthology films. It's just you only need like half of the shorts or the stories to be good, and you're like, well, that was sort of worth its time. And quite often it's become like a director's and a director-writer playground a bit. Different people getting involved that might need a break or a chance to, I guess, experiment, do something outside the norms. The stories in this one, I'm trying to pull up their names quickly just so I can say which was actually my favorite. So I would say my favorite was simply because it was actually kind of fucked up. And yeah, I mean, it was fucked up. Is the Alex Ross Perry directed, written one, Kid Print, which is basically about children being kidnapped, and they're he was on the last episode of Big Picture. Not to keep pitching it up a podcast, but
it's fine.
It's fine. He was on the last episode of Big Picture talking about his inspiration for it, which is simply where his story in this starts in the 90s, 80s or whatever, where you'd pay in America like to film these videos for the kids, and the whole literally for the purpose of sort of like if your kid went missing and stuff, you'd have like video to give to the cops so they could put it on the TV and stuff like that. But he said that he found like on YouTube clips of them, and they were always just like really weird because it's just so like monotone, people just talking, being like, I like soccer. Soccer's my favorite sport. Like it just plays into that. So it starts with that, and then like it's just like this kid's being kidnapped, and it's one of those things where quite often if you're doing a story about kids like 10 to 12 whatever, you're like, surely they won't go too fucked up, but no, he goes fucked up is when the story. What was it one I really liked? Well, there's a mix here. There's a story called Fun Size by Casper Kelly. In like this is why these projects are fun, which is that this one is about people who go trick-or-treating. Well, actually pause. Here's the other thing about this one. 3 stories start with people trick-or-treating and 2 don't. So I'm like, I understand it's Halloween, but by the time I got to like the 3rd story starting with people trick-or-treating, I'm like, come on guys, what are we doing? Fun Size, written and directed by Casper Kelly, basically is these people, they go to a bowl that says like only take 1, and they take 2, and then they get sucked into the bowl of candy, and they end up in this weird world where these creatures, I don't know, they look like cartoon characters running around, who keep running up to them going, Fun Size! And then they are basically chopping up the humans and turning them into the candy that everyone's eating off the porch, including their penises, which is a really big part of the plot in this one. So that's fun. What was it? There was the one where these people, the first story or second story where they go trick-or-treating is like these girls get kidnapped in this house with a really fucking weird, creepy dude in like a baby suit roaming around. So that was odd. And then I think it was the last story. Yeah, last story, Home Haunt. Written and directed by Michelle Pitt Norman and R.H. Norman. It's basically his family who's like the kid's getting too old to want to help out his dad who loves to do these haunted houses at Halloween time. And he's like, no, this is the last one. So they set up the Halloween house, and then all the neighbors and whatever the come to walk through it. But he's like brought some fucking mystical book or something this year that he sets off, and basically all the creatures and things inside the haunted house start coming alive. So all of a sudden you've got these people with axes roaming around trying to kill them, witches flying around. Like, it's all just everything in a haunted house comes to life, and that was pretty fun to end it on. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoy it. VHS, watch them.
All right. For a totally different tonal shift, I watched the John Candy documentary.
Oh, that's how it is.
John Candy, I Like Me, available on Prime Video. Directed by Colin Hanks. Pretty much depicting or like going over the life of John Candy from his early days working, being part of Second City Toronto, doing SCTV with a bunch of Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, all these famous Canadian royalty, and then going through to his kind of, I guess, big break when he got a part in 1941 from Spielberg, and then was pretty much became this kind of everyman, documenting a lot of his personal struggles, even though he was a very nice person and like was very beloved by everybody. He dealt with his father died of a heart attack at a very young age, so he's always had an issue, fear about that, but also kind of dealing with anxiety and I guess it sounds like he had an element of imposter syndrome where as much as he was a star and was like in a bunch of hit movies and a big success, he was always kind of worried about what the next job was and like would people still care and want him in things. I think lots of really interesting interviews. Obviously, you've got Eugene Levy, Catherine O'Hara, people who were there at the time. Tom Hanks, who obviously did Splash with Steve Martin, who did Transplanes and Automobiles. But I think like Conan O'Brien kind of puts it very interestingly, who he met like only briefly, but was very much a big fan of, where he says Hollywood is not a very good place for people pleasers. It sounded like John Candy was very much a people pleaser, and there was a stage towards the end of his career, or like maybe in the middle of his career, where he was just popping up in things because people asked him to do things, which when they flopped didn't look very good for his resume and that kind of stuff. But yeah, also getting into his relationship with John Hughes, who they did a bunch of films. I think Macaulay Culkin said they did 9 films together, which is crazy when you think of all the actors you would associate with John Hughes. John Candy is maybe not the first one that comes to mind. But yeah, I mean, really interesting documentary. Macaulay Culkin has really good interview segments talking about making Uncle Buck and how John Candy was like this paternal figure for him, like one of the first adults to actually worry about him or give him like a level of respect as a child actor. And yeah, like kind of going all the way through to his unfortunately early passing in 1994. But yeah, I mean, really interesting look at it. Like this actor who I know was in a bunch of movies that I watched as a kid. He was unfortunately went too soon. But yeah, I think a really interesting watch. I mean, if you're a huge John Candy fan, I guess maybe there isn't like a bunch of new information in there. But like is like a remembrance piece. What, almost 30 years after his passing? It's a really, really fitting tribute, I think. So, check that out on Prime Video. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. So I checked out the new Catherine Bigelow film that just dropped on Netflix, A House of Dynamite, which chronicles a lone missile fired from somewhere in the Pacific, a lone nuclear missile fired somewhere in the Pacific to America, and kind of the response from various levels of government and military and different agencies. It has got a ridiculously star-studded cast. Like, well, I wouldn't say ridiculous, but there is filled with like known actors: Idris Elba, Rebecca Ferguson, Jared Harris, Anthony Ramos, Moses Ingram, Greta Lee, Jason Clarke, Brian T. Like the list kind of goes on. And
you're missing
even,
big time physical movie maker, physical movie collector Tracy Letts is in this.
yes, Tracy Letts is in this to the extent where Caitlin Dever is in this film in like the most innocuous, unnecessary role that she needed. It's like maybe they wrote into a contract for Apple Cider Vinegar that she needed to appear in this like on a day off or something like that, because she's in like 5 minutes. Because like Billy is pretty crazy. It's very interesting film. I guess slight spoilers about the structure of the movie, but it is told from they go over the same like 20-25 minutes events from the discovery of the missile through to it potentially landing in a American city 3 times. So it's told real time from 3 different perspectives. Each time kind of giving a little bit more flavor, a little bit more explanation, a little bit more perspective, because you tell like first time it's like from the White House like response room or whatever is the main room, and then also the missile base that is trying to intercept this nuclear missile, the main 2. But then you go to like the head of like the second time they retell it, it's like from perspective of like the head of the army and that kind of stuff, like someone who has very much got experience. It is like very much pushing for the response. And then like the third time it's like the actual president's like the focus of what the president was doing in these 20-25 minutes and that kind of things. Really interesting. I think surprisingly tense, despite going over the same kind of events multiple times. Like it still holds the tension, and you're like still invested in like what's going to happen and that kind of stuff. Yeah, I found it I really enjoyed my time with it. The ending is frustrating. I think it will frustrate a lot of people. I don't want to go into it too much, but yes, it is. I'll be interested if you check this film out, how you feel about the ending of this movie.
Yeah, I want to check it out for sure,
because it is a choice, a frustrating choice. So yeah, A House of Dynamite, fantastic movie, really well shot, great performances, like crazy ensemble. So yeah, check out on Netflix. And then Dylan, you checked out the documentary series Mob War, Philadelphia versus the Mafia.
Oh yeah, this is a new 3-part series about the 80s to 90s Philadelphia mob war, most prominently involving, I mean, the what the fuck, I'm trying to remember I was about to say the most recognizable name is Joey Molino is the most recognizable name because he's alive currently, and last year, because I remember reading an article about it, he started a podcast last year, because of course he did. And I remember reading that article. It's like mob boss starts podcast, gets kicked out of mob, and that's basically what the. So yeah, I went into this game knowing that he doesn't die, but sort of thing. Yeah, so it's sort of it is interesting. I will say that I don't know, it's a very condensed version of a lot of things that must happen that lead to them happening, because it starts it very quickly. I can't remember everyone's names, but when the first episode starts, it's like, here's this current mob boss. He's like killing a lot of people. Everyone considers him psycho. He's arrested now. Cool. You don't get a lot in that guy. You're like, okay, so that's fine. That's more of an interlude. Then the new guy comes in, and he's like an older sort of, like from Sicily sort of old school mob boss sort of mentality, and he's going up against like basically a war starts between him and the Joey Molino crew, which is this younger Italian American born group, like the sons of a lot of the older mob dudes who came over, who are now dead or in prison. They want to do things a different way, and this is sort of where the war starts. However, like, it's just a lot of it just rushes for a lot. You don't get, and the thing that annoyed me is the most expanded sections that they play out, and they filmed little B-roll pretend footage as talking heads are happening, whatever the official name for that is they have the same guy go over once every episode a different bugging of a home, a house, or something, and every time it plays out the same way with like the same like beat. They're like, like they try and like make out like something's going to happen. It's like, and then this, and like you can do that once, I feel, but then but it was the only like expanded section was always like this one dude from the FBI telling how he's bugging this particular phone, or they break into this person's house and whatever else. But literally every episode has one section, and I'm like, why? It's odd, but yeah, it's still sort of interesting. It does have a mix of people from the FBI who are involved at the time talking about it, plus some dudes who were either part of the mob at the time and have left it, or still are and just they're happy to talk, I guess. Yeah, it's okay. I don't think it does it like you definitely know there's a lot more story here than what's here. But if you want like a very surface level, I think explanation of like a 10-year period or maybe 10 plus year period, I think 3 episodes obviously rushes through a lot of things that would have happened.
Yeah, so that's everything in our watch history. Let's move on to some film news, and there's a couple of interesting studies I thought I wanted to highlight this week. Hollywood Reporter posted a story called "The Academic Case Against the Netflix Episode Release Strategy." Reading from the Hollywood Reporter, maybe don't copycat Netflix so much other streamers. These days, 89% of US households subscribe to a streaming service, and most of them carry 4 or more platforms simultaneously. While an overall industry churn rate of 37% subscriber retention is key. For best odds, released episodes weekly. A new study by the Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, shared first with the Hollywood Reporter, has found that a drip release strategy is a 48% greater short-term retention of subscribers versus binge drops. For the study, CMO partnered with an unnamed large multinational telecommunications provider just ahead of the rollout of 4 series: Big Little Lies, The Muppets, The Young Pope, and Unforgettable. The telco had the rights to manipulate these release strategies of these shows as it saw fit, providing researchers the variable control needed. The randomized field trial assigned viewers aged 49, average age 49, either a drip release schedule or an all-at-once release schedule. The study consisted of 2 stages of 5 weeks apiece. CML found that both strategies had their own merits. Weekly releases can deter consumers from engaging with the focal show and push them to explore the streamer's catalog more actively. These users tend to visit the platform more frequently during the whole release period. That's a good thing, unless you're a binge viewer. The drip play may lead to a loss of engagement, as consumers may prefer to wait until more episodes are released before starting to watch a focal show as continued. Some churn out in the process. Still, overall, it is a better method to hold captive an audience average subscriber in the short term. Of course, not all people are the average person. Gradual release is negatively affecting subscription retention among users with strong binge-watching behaviors, the study reads. Dylan, do you feel justified in your stance that weekly is the way to go?
Yes. Thank you for the report. It feels good to know I was right all along. Thank you.
Well, I said there is a third option, one that has been used successfully by Amazon Prime Video. A separate study by streaming measurement company Illuminate found that nearly 3/4 of all new series released by Prime Video have been batch releases. But with Amazon, by the time a show gets to its 3rd season, sometimes earlier, Prime Video series switch to weekly releases. Amazon will often get these later seasons a head start by releasing their 2 or 3 episodes with a season premiere. Life is about compromise.
Apple TV does the same, I guess. Like they do,
yes,
2-3 episode premieres, then weekly.
Yes, and I think that's probably the smarter strategy potentially in the long term. You give people a proper full hit of something to get them going, and then once they're actually hooked, you like drip feed it out.
Mm. No, I have nothing wrong with like the double episode premiere then go to weekly thing, because it is, I think it's just, if you give people a larger, especially if you don't do like a longer premiere episode for your season or your show, then giving people double episode gives them a chance to get more invested rather than, yeah.
Yep. So, I mean, even I believe it. Welcome to Dairy
Today, I
this
think,
week
right
dropped
now, as we're
2
recording, I
episodes.
think. Yeah.
They dropped 2 episodes by surprise. So, I'm sure you'll be talking about that next week. So, yeah, interesting study. The other study I wanted to bring up was apparently a very annual one called The Science of Scare. Each year, the Science of Scare curates a list of the most terrifying English language films and puts them to our 250 strong panel. Our test subjects are invited to special screenings of our movies where they're fitted with heart rate monitors and their heart rate is tracked throughout each movie. To prevent audience fatigue, screenings take place over the course of several weeks throughout the year before we publish our results in October, just in time for Halloween. In previous years, we would measure the average impact our shortlisted movies had on the heart rate of our subjects compared to the average BPMs of the total sample size. However, in 2023, we developed a more detailed way of measuring with the creation of the Science of Scare score. One of the main pieces of feedback from the horror aficionados and communities in the last year's study was that only one psychological factor, heart rate, meant that the study favored heavy jump scare based movies rather than slow burn horror films. So in 2023, we introduced the Science of Scare score, a combination of multiple factors to rank the scariest movie. The scare score system, which combines both heart rate and heart rate variance, turns for 2025. With heart rate, the higher the number, the faster the movie got our audience's blood pumping, indicator of excitement and fear as part of your fight or flight instinct. On the other hand, heart rate variance measures the time in between each beat of your heart. The lower the heart rate variance, the more stressed our audience members become, a good indicator of slow burn, fear, and dread. After collecting the average heart increase and HRV decrease, we then combine the scores to create a Science of Scare score out of 100. For comparison, Shrek holds a scare score of 3 out of 100. So, Dylan, do you want to guess what is the number one horror movie according to this study?
But were they showing? Like, I don't like from
I
all
mean,
time. I'm just.
Everything on this list, I would say, is from the last decade or so.
Would
I
you
think.
do this, do you reckon?
No, I don't think I could because I'd be set the
You'd set the thing off.
yeah, I'd be an outlier. I would say okay. So the top movie is last 20 years.
20 years. Fucking hell. I don't know. This is really hard. Hereditary?
No, Hereditary is number 6 on the list
Yeah.
with a scare score of 81.
Yeah. Terrifier?
Not on this list.
Uh,
Hang on, let me check. They've got an all-time list. Is it on? Terrifier 2's on the list.
well, any Terrifier, I guess. Yeah.
At number 23.
Yeah.
Oh, Terrifier 3 is at 25. Interesting.
1408 because it's fucked.
No, it's not on the list.
Great movie, man. I don't know. Everyone. Mother?
Mother? No, it's on the list.
I don't know. I don't know what. There's so many horror movies. I think.
I'm trying to think of a hint to narrow it down.
Yeah.
I think we've actually watched this film. We've both watched this film.
You've watched it.
Yes, for this podcast.
Jaws?
No.
Devil's Rejects?
No.
You don't watch movies.
The director recently had a sequel come out in cinemas.
Director recently had a sequel to this movie?
No. To another series of horror movies.
Conjuring?
No, The Conjuring sits at number 5 though.
Really?
Yeah.
Wild. What else has had a sequel? Horror? A sequel that's been in cinemas recently. I can't think of any sequels that have been in cinemas recently.
Really? Not even a movie that you talked about last week. So it's not the original film, it's another film directed by that director.
I talked about a movie I watched in cinemas last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a sequel.
Could even be number 1 at the box office.
Oh, Black Phone. What's this? Sinister.
Sinister is the number 1 scary movie.
Really?
According to this list. With a scare score of 96.
You've watched that. That's true. We did watch that.
Yeah.
That's not that scary.
Yeah. So, according to the list, top 10 scariest movies of all time. Number 10, Talk to Me. Number 9, The Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Yeah, that's
Number 8, Smile. Number 7, Smile 2. Number 6, Hereditary. Number 5, The Conjuring. Number 4, Insidious. Number 3, Skinamarink. Number 2, Host. And number 1, Sinister.
Skinamarink.
You surprised? You surprised over that
Yes.
list?
Yes, I am. That is a weird mix of a bunch of Blumhouse stuff that is,
I think it's obviously a bit of recency bias
yeah, that's a bunch of
to study.
Yeah, and then Skinamarink, I think, is a flip of a coin if psychologically that film can get under your skin and I guess work. Whereas for me, it just didn't work, and so yeah, yeah, that's a weird list. Talk to me. 10, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild when it just makes me question sometimes where I'm like, man, that movie's fun, and then you're telling me it's scary, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just fun to me.
Well, I mean, like I said, you enjoy your heart rate being fucked with, I guess is the easiest way to put it. So yes.
Interesting.
Dylan, every week there is a bunch of casting news that doesn't really warrant a bunch of time on it. So we like to cover these stories in a segment called Would You Want to Invest? I list off a bunch of projects with a bunch of information to Dylan, and he would tell me if he would fully invest, partially invest, or not invest in them, and then he still be the judge if he's right or wrong. Ready for this week's installment?
Here's a bunch of films that don't deserve a lot of time. Here's an entire segment.
We're not going to spend 10 minutes talking about each of these.
Each one,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All right. In a competitive, reading from Deadline. In a competitive situation with multiple bidders, Netflix has landed Black Hole, based on Charles Burns' best-selling graphic novel, giving it a straight-to-series order. The Hawk package from New Regency will be a co-studio series along with the streamer, with Plan B and Aaron Levy among the executive producers. Black Hole is created and written by filmmaker Jane Schoenberg, who's also set to direct. Here's the description. There's an old myth that haunts the seemingly perfect small town of Roosevelt. If you have sex too young, you'll contract the bug, a virus that literally turns you into a monster from your worst nightmare. Absurd, right? That's what Chris always assumed until after one reckless night at the beginning of senior year, she finds herself infected. Now she'll be cast out to the woods to live with the other infected, where a chilling new threat emerges. A serial killer who's hunting them down one by one.
Yeah, fully invest, because obviously I sold the TV Glow, so.
Yeah. That was a pretty safe bet. Tim Heidecker, the alt comic of Tim and Eric fame, and Emmy winner Tatiana Maslany have signed on to star in The Comedy Hour, a late-night themed dystopian satire from Cynthia Films and Halle Bernard and Julia Higgins. Marking the featured directorial debut of Colby Day, the scribe behind forthcoming Searchlight picture In the Blink of an Eye, the black comedy is set 5 minutes into the future when modern America is on the brink of collapse. Heidecker will play Jimmy, a late-night talk show host forced to produce his show through famine, fire, and plague. When the Netflix assigns him a robot to co-host and help boost ratings, everyone in America loves the robot more than him. Maslany will play Priya, a corporate climber, and Jimmy's long-term producer.
Yep. Yeah. 5 minutes in the future sounds about right. Full invest, yeah. That's who they replaced Steve Colbert with.
Yeah, crazy.
Just a robot that's like, Trump is good. Vote for Trump.
He didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
You can grab him by the pussy.
Third
Netflix.
term.
What Constitution?
Yeah.
Netflix and Cherie Entertainment have set a new drama series, Kennedy, which will explore the triumphs and tragedies of the Kennedy family. Michael Fassbender has been cast as Patriarch Joe Kennedy Sr. Kennedy is based on the Frederick Vogelvoll's book JFK Coming of Age in the American Century, 1917 to 1956, and will be showrun by Sam Shaw, who previously did Manhattan and Master of Sex, and directed by Thomas Vinterberg. According to the official logline, the 8-episode series will reveal the intimate lives, loves, rivalries, and tragedies that shape the most iconic dynasty in modern history and help create the world we live in today. Beginning in the 1930s, the first season charts the improbable ascent of Joe and Rose Kennedy and their 9 children, including the rebellious second son Jack, who struggles to escape the shadow of his golden boy older brother.
Yeah, cool. I feel like that's a good match. Vinterberg and Fassbender for that story, I guess. Full invest.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of people are saying this is going to be the American Crown, the Crown. So Interesting. It'll be interesting when they finally get to the point of
Directed by a dude from Denmark, but yeah.
What's the famous Kennedy at the moment? Yeah, when they get to his season, it's gonna be so good. All these dead animals everywhere.
Just eat an apple.
Worms all over the place.
COVID's not real.
Even with his latest film, Jake Kelly, in the midst of award season following the world premiere at the Venice Film Festival, George Clooney not only appears to have lined up his next project, but another A-list star with whom to share the screen. Sources tell Deadline that Clooney and Annette Bening are set to star in the upcoming book adaptation In Love, based on Amy Bloom's New York Times bestselling memoir In Love, a memoir of love and loss. The film will be directed by Oscar nominee Paul Weitz, who co-wrote the script with Bloom. In Love is an illuminating modern love story about two people who make an impossible decision together that honors their enduring commitment to each other.
Yeah, full invest, sure. Annette Bening, George Clooney. I don't know if are they beating them? I don't know.
I can't imagine they had it.
I can't picture them in something together, so sure.
Indie prison hostage thriller 11 Days has rounded out its cast with the addition of Tenoch Huerta and Emmy nominee Richard Cabral. They joined the previously announced cast led by Diego Luna, which includes Taylor Kitsch, Jason Isaacs, Jeffrey Donovan, Jennifer Carpenter, Lola Kirk, and John Gallagher Jr. Peter Landman serves as the project's director. Inspired by the true events of the book 11 Days in Hell, the 1974 Cascaro prison siege at Huntsville, Texas, by William T. Harper, 11 Days recounts the true story of prisoner Federico Carrasco taking control of the Huntsville Penitentiary during the sweltering Texas summer of 1974.
I'm going to go partial.
Oh, wait, hang on. The prison's priest, Father John O'Brien, joins forces with Jim Estelle, head of the Texas Department of Corrections, by offering himself as a hostage to outgame Carrasco and his men in an effort to save the lives of the other hostages that have been taken.
That sounds kind of cooler, but I'm still going to go partial invest. My mind was made up.
That's fair. All right. After Deadline broke news that Michael B. Jordan was in line for the Ricardo Tubbs role in Universal's Miami Vice movie directed by Joe Kosinski, the studio now looks to have zeroed in his partner. Deadline is hearing Austin Butler is in early talks to star as the iconic TV detective James Sonny Crockett, the character made famous by Don Johnson in Michael Mann's 1980s TV series. Sources say it's early days and no deals are done, but our scheduling was worked out for the film. Butler is engaging and interested. As for Jordan, his deal to play Dubs is also in early days. Of course, Miami Vice is based on characters created by Aaron Yerkovich from the series, executive produced by Yerkovich and Mann. The show Rock Johnson to pin up status in the role of white suit wearing Sonny Crockett, while Philip Michael Thomas played his partner Tubbs. The film is dated for August 26, 2027, and this incarnation will explore the glamour and corruption of mid-1980s Miami, inspired by the pilot episode and first season of the NBC series.
Yeah, I saw this the other day, and straight away I was like, yeah, that sounds, yeah, I can picture that. So, yeah, full invest.
Isn't it kind of crazy that they're doing Miami Vice again, though?
It's funny, I brought it like 6 months ago and I haven't got around to watching it yet, but I was watching or reading an article. I can't remember, honestly, if it was a YouTube video or an article, but it was someone defending the director's cut, saying how much better it is.
Of course.
Yeah, one of those ones. But they did such a good job that I actually purchased the director's cut of the Jamie Foxx and Colin Farrell one. And I haven't got around to watching it yet. So better timing, I guess. It's sort of worked out. But yeah, because I wasn't like, I thought the movie was like, meh. I don't think it was, but I don't know, people saying rewatch it, director's cut, so I'll have to.
Billy Magnuson and Lulu Williams have signed on to co-star in Joe Lynch's horror comedy Buzzkill ahead of an early 2026 shoot in Texas. As anonymous content and the veterans join forces to launch sales on the film at AFFM. Billed as a blend of A Quiet Place and Another Round, the movie is set in a small Texas town terrorized by a creature that can only be seen by people who are drunk. Magnuson stars as a recently widowed and recovering alcoholic Sheriff Red, who launches an investigation as locals begin turning up murdered and dismembered one by one, discovering that the monster feeds on the blood alcohol content of its victims. With the annual brewery festival fast approaching, the whole town is about to get wasted. Red must face his demons and pick up the bottle one last time to take down the monster and save his town for good.
Yes, very good. Fully invested. No notes. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sounds good. I would be fucked. I'll tell you right now.
At least you'd be able to get away. Oh, you
You
can only see it coming.
Yeah, I'd see it coming, but fucking seek me out like a fucking red balloon.
He'd be full. He'd be very full.
Sacrifice myself for the town, you know.
The safety of others.
Send him to hibernation.
All right. Keeping up its strong ties with shrinking talents, Jason Segel and James Ponsoldt, Apple Original Films have landed global rights to the psychological thriller Sponsor. Segel set to star in Ponsoldt directing. The film hails from an original idea co-written by Segel and Ponsoldt, who also serve as the producers on Shrinking, which returns for its third season in January next year. Sponsor follows Peter, who made a big mistake when he gets behind the wheel after partying too hard. A terrible accident leaves him with a choice: prison or recovery program. Convinced he doesn't have a drinking problem, he begrudgingly shows up for his first meeting and searches for a sponsor. In walks the no-nonsense, charismatic, yet enigmatic Jerry. Peter is convinced Jerry is the answer to his prayers, guessing he isn't.
I'm going to say no. That was a bit vague.
It was a bit vague, wasn't it? Last one for this week. The Sopranos creator David Chase is revisiting a dark chapter in the CIA history with the project MK Ultra, a limited series in development at HBO. The project, which would make Chase's first series since the groundbreaking HBO mob drama, will be based on the non-fiction book Project Mind Control, Sidney Gloteb, the CIA and the Tragedy of MK Ultra by author John Lyle. Chase has optioned the book and will write the adaptation, which falls under the first look deal of his by his company River Rain Pictures has at HBO. Project MK Ultra is a dramatic thriller centered on the infamous chemist and spy master Sidney Goldsleeve, often known as the Black Sorcerer, who headed the CIA's MK Ultra psychedelic program, which conducted dangerous and deadly mind control experiments on willing and unwilling subjects during the height of the Cold War. Goldsleeve is also known as the unwitting godfather of the entire LSD counterculture.
Partial on this. Interesting subject matter. Need more information.
All right. Betting against David Chase. We'll see how that pans out.
To be fair,
history will be the judge.
To be fair, I love The Sopranos and everything. My dude hasn't done a TV series for a very long time. And
didn't you do the... Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
You thinking about the movie, The Sopranos one?
No, he hasn't done TV since. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Go on a high.
Yeah, he did.
Goodness. That's crazy. Has he just been living off Sopranos fame?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he wrote the Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah, that's true. Because he was finally starting to lose. He needed money. All right. Yeah, so here's to be the judge. But let's talk about some movies that are a little bit closer in this week's Thumbs for Trailers. Because we've got all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Keying things off, we've got Crime 101, directed by Bart Layton, starring Chris Hemsworth, Mark Ruffalo, Barry Keoghan, Monica Barbaro, Corey Hawkins, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Nick Nolte, and Halle Berry. A Los Angeles detective pursues an elusive thief who teams up with an insurance broker for one last heist. Dylan, what did you think of Crime 101?
Yeah, double thumbs up for this. Definitely reminded me of, I don't know, early 2000s type movie. I don't know, something. It definitely looks like something we used to get more often in cinemas, and then they stopped making movies that weren't sequels. So I'm hoping it looks. I mean, there's snippets of car chases, and obviously there's a lot in there. So I'm hoping that's the make or break for me for this. You can't have a trailer where people are talking about fucking cool cars and movies and stuff, and not have the car chase scenes better be good. So, but double thumbs up. I like the cast.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up. I mean, the only issue I have with the trailer is Mark Ruffalo is again playing like an FBI agent chasing down a wanted criminal, and something we've just seen him in the Task. But yeah, it does like evoke like a series of movies that we haven't seen in a long time, like the criminal thief, the big time thief against the big detective trying to bring him down. Yeah, cool cast, cool setting. Chris Hemsworth looks pretty good. You know, in a role that isn't Thor. So, yeah, keen to check this one out when it hits cinemas on the 2nd of February, 2026. Next trailer is for Reminders of Him, directed by Vanessa Caswell, starring Michael Monroe, Tyreek Withers, Rudy Pankow, Lainey Wilson, Lauren Graham, and Bradley Whitford. After a perfect outing with her boyfriend, Kenna makes an unbearable mistake that sends her to prison. 7 years later, Kenna returns to her hometown, Wyoming, hoping to rebuild her life and earn the chance to reunite with her young daughter, whom she has never known. When her daughter's custodial grandparents adamantly refuse Kenna's attempts to see her daughter, Kenna discovers unexpected compassion and then something truer and deeper with former NFL player and a local bar owner, Ledger. As the secret merriments develop, so do the dangers for both of them, leading Kenna towards heartbreak and ultimately the hope for a second chance. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for this one, which is based on a Colleen Hoover book? Obviously, It Ends With Us, I think, was the book that
It Ends With Us is the one with
was the big hit
Blake
with
Lively,
Blake Lively.
that's got all the drama around it. But also Regretting
Got all the
You's,
drama, but made all the money.
Yeah, Regretting You's in cinemas right now as well. Also a Colleen Hoover
Yes.
book. Reviews for that are bad. But
it could make a bunch of money.
could make a bunch of money. So apparently that everyone's just buying up Colleen Hoover books is the what I'm learning, I guess. I have not watched It Ends With Us. I've not watched Regretting You. I'm going to give this one up, one down. I think it looks better than either of those, having watched the trailers for all of these films, but having watched none of them. This is probably my favorite of the trailers. I will say it gives away too much in the second half, like shows its hand a bit too much. But I at least find the story within this one to be a little bit more, I don't know, adult, serious, like different enough. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased towards Michael Monroe as well. One of the best final girls working at the moment. So, but yeah, I'll go one up, one down.
I'll go one up, one down. I've got a different issue.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's song choice and how jarring the first song's cut and then jumps into another massive song, like current song. But I think it's I know the song. It's very frustrating, but it's like a song that's been potentially overused after it was originally used in 13 Reasons Why. But this first section, and then you jump into like the Alex Lawrence Ordinary for the rest of the trailer. It's very jarring. It doesn't quite, the two songs don't fit together seamlessly. But yeah, I mean, obviously it looks fine. It looks like another one of it's clearly a film not aimed at us. It's got that audience of people who probably are going to see those other Colleen Hoover movies. And I'm sure this is very successful. I do think it gives a lot away.
Way too much.
And way too much. Also, was it the understanding that he was best friends with her boyfriend?
Yeah.
Yet she never met him, despite her being the mother of his child. Seems odd.
Yeah.
But I guess he's saying he's an ex-NFL player. Maybe he was playing in the NFL in a way during that
I have
short
a lot
period.
of questions but yeah.
Also, I don't think they could just take your child for being in a car accident.
I guess because she was in prison, drink driving.
I guess drink driving, but we're giving this way more thought than we probably need to. Reminders of Him is coming to Australian cinemas on the 2nd of March. Next trailer is for Stone Cold Fox, directed by Sophie Tabbitt, starring Kieran Chipka, Kristen Ritter, Kiefer Sutherland, Lorenza Izzo, Jamie Chung, Karen Fukuhara, and Michael Prada. A woman breaks out of an abusive commune, but when the Queenpin kidnaps her younger sister and sends a cop after her, she has no choice but to infiltrate the very place she escaped from. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Stone Cold Fox?
Yep, double thumbs up. Looks like a fun time to me. Kieran Chipka looks great. Christian Ritter looks great. Kiefer Sutherland looks like Kiefer Sutherland wearing a sheriff hat. Double
I
thumbs
tell you
up.
what, that guy doesn't age.
No, he doesn't. He's
He's
been
one of the.
he's he was 20.
He's been Jack Bauer for like 20.
Well, I was going to say, he was 20 in a period of his life, like Lost Boys era and stuff like that. And then he was 40. And he's been 40 for like the rest of the time. Yeah. He's just been Jack Bauer.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I think I'd give this 2 thumbs up. Like, it is clearly playing with like old school, like exploitation movie-esque graphics and that kind of stuff, and is definitely going for that vibe. And just the tone is quite interesting, I think, for this. It looks like it's going to become. It's like one of those movies that's going to have a slow build, and then it's just going to go crazy towards the end. When the shit kind of hits the fan, or like the violence starts to the action starts to take place. You know what I mean? So yeah, looks pretty interesting. And despite never hearing this movie before, apparently it's hitting cinemas on the 7th of November. Next trailer, Malice, created by Johannes Roberts, starring David Duchovny, Carice Van Houten, and Jack Whitehall. Adam is a charismatic tutor who charms his way into the life of the wealthy Tanner family while they're on holiday in Greece. When the family's nanny falls dangerously ill, Adam orchestrates his way into the London home, and his true vengeful nature begins to emerge. Adam now starts to turn Jamie Tanner and Nat against each other and secretly plots to bring down the entire family. When Adam's obsession with the family raises questions, and those who dig deeper into his past find themselves playing a dangerous game. With his world collapsing around him, Jamie starts to realize that Adam is... I didn't copy all the description.
Up to no good. Something like that.
Realize that Adam may be responsible for all their recent disasters, but is it too late to save his family? Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for the upcoming Prime miniseries?
I'll go one up, one down. It looks okay, but looks very similar to a lot of things in the last 5 years to me. Also, Jack Whitehall in this role is weird to me, but that's, I don't know, just an interesting choice for him.
Casting.
But, yeah, casting and everything. And I mean, David Duchovny looks like David Duchovny, and then Melisandre's in this, so whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, one up, one down for me. There's not a lot that sells it that's much different than anything else, other than the fact it's a man chasing him down and trying to screw his life, whereas more often these kind of stories you see women like kind of
the scorned woman
in,
trying to get revenge.
Like
literally the Sydney Sweeney one we watched a trailer for like 2 weeks ago.
No, and Hand the Rock the Cradle is just the remake, just dropped on Disney Plus as well, so which tells a similar story. So, looks fine. Probably not going to watch it, but it is coming to Prime Video on the 14th of November. Last trailer for the week this week. Pluribus, I believe is how you pronounce it. Created by Vince Gilligan, starring Rhea Seehorn, Carolina Widra, and Carlos Manuel Visca. Set in Albuquerque, New Mexico, the series follows author Carol Sturcker, who seems to be the only person immune to an unexplainable virus that transforms the world's population into content and optimistic citizens. Dylan, do I need to know what your feelings on this trailer are?
No. It is shockingly 2 thumbs down. 2 thumbs up. Of course, I don't need a trailer. I don't need anything. I don't even need this is the TV show I'm looking forward to the most at this stage, right? Obviously, this TV show I've been looking forward to pretty much all year. It's Vince Gilligan, Rhea Seehorn. It's this show's for me. I don't need to know what it's about. And the thing is, the trailer is a good trailer as well because it gives away it's very vague.
It gives away almost nothing.
It gives away almost nothing, but just gives you an intriguing concept. It's like, what the fuck is going on? It's very weird. That whole interaction at the end where it's like, would you give me a tank? Yeah. It's a very unique, interesting concept. And I'm sort of, it's good to know that, it's good to see, I guess, that, Vince Gilligan exploring a bit more. He did have this, and it's not to say that he hasn't done stuff like this because he comes from the he was working on fucking what's the we just said David Duchovny. Fuck, X-Files, right?
X-Files.
So he used to he's written X-Files episodes and stuff. That's where he first met a bunch of people they ended up working with more over the years and stuff on that show. So, but it's him returning somewhat to, I guess, the sci-fi nature of stuff he's worked on previously after doing 10 years of just straight realistic drama.
Surely more.
But yeah, probably more. Like probably 20 years of realistic drama, I guess, between the whole Breaking Bad universe and Better Call Saul spin-off and the Netflix movie. And yeah, so I'm very keen. He's obviously, you say, hey, Dylan, the creator of two of your favorite shows, has a new show coming out. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I think 2 thumbs up as well. I think is a trailer. It has enough there to get you interested. Gives you just enough, but also like leaves so many questions unanswered. Obviously banking on the name Vince Gilligan, or creator of Breaking Bad, to get eyeballs on the show.
Which it will. Like, let's be honest.
Which it
the creator of Breaking Bad will get people in.
To Apple TV? I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting concepts. It looks like Apple gave them like a blank check to do whatever they wanted. So, excited to see what they did.
So you're going to watch this? This is going to be your first Vince Gilligan show?
Yeah, I'm going to check out the premiere and stuff.
Yeah.
I've watched one episode of Breaking Bad and one episode of Better Call Saul. Yeah. So, first is like a stretch. Pluribus is coming to Apple TV on the 7th of November.
Guess what that means, Ash? Hashtag my Emmy train continues. How many years can I continue the path now, For a while there, I was like, I got to give up. That's it. Hashtag Racing Hill and Emmy. Like, I'm over. It's Better Call Saul.
Racing Hill in a Vince Gilligan show.
Yeah, I was like, what am I going to do? But now, it's back on, baby.
Come on. All right, let's talk about this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
And in honor of the film Good Fortune coming out this week, which Keanu Reeves plays an angel, this week's top 3 is top 3 movies featuring angels. Dylan, what's number 3?
This is a hard list. I'd realize there's a lot of movies with angels in them and not a lot that I like or have seen. Number 3, I'm going to go Constantine, even though I don't think it's a great movie.
My number 3 is Constantine.
But Tilda Swinton makes a great Gabriel. So
I mean, it strangely ahead of its time. Like, to cast Tilda Swinton in the role of Gabriel is this kind of gender fluid angel, I guess. Probably weirdly like a precursor to her playing the Ancient One in the Marvel movies, a role you would expect a man to play, but played by a female. Yeah, great movie. Continues to be talked about. I mean, Constantine interestingly in the news this week because James Gunn has said they've talked about the sequel, hasn't seen the script yet. So, but yeah, that's a fantastic movie. Dylan's number 2.
Number 2 is All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Okay.
Which I have not watched since I was like 11. However, from memory, great movie. Dogs are in it, tick, and I believe some of them are angels. 10 out of 10.
Right. My number 2 is also a film from my childhood. Angels in the Outfield. In which a young boy, played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, prays to the angels that the baseball team, the California Angels, will become successful because his dad left, and he said, "I'll only come home when the Angels win the World Series or whatever," as if it's saying, "I'll come home when this impossible event happens." But then his prayers are answered to, and this terrible team is helped by angels to win the baseball games. What else do you want to know? Weirdly, I didn't check this before, but apparently also in the cast, young Adrian Brody, Adrian, the 2-time Academy Award winner, and Matthew McConaughey. But it starred Danny Glover as like the lead angel, and Christopher Lloyd as the boss angel. Oh no, Danny Glover was the manager of the team. Good movie. greatly enjoyed it as a kid. Spun off multiple sequels that were not as good. Dylan, what's your number one? I
Dogma.
expect this will be the same for both of us.
Dogma.
Dogma, yes.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, play angels.
Bad Angels.
Still
Some would
angels.
say.
What more do you want?
No, that's true. Dogma, great movie. And Alan Rickman's an angel as well, isn't he? You know, it's a full gamut of great angels. You know, for God, Alanis Morissette shows up.
God
Spoilers
is a
if-
woman, you know.
Yeah.
Talking about ahead of time.
Yeah, that's true. You know, I'm sure that was controversial.
I don't know. I
Think
don't know
about
if you know that, like, so this movie was picketed, shockingly.
Yeah, that's
by-
right.
And then Kevin Smith picketed his own movie, went out there and like pretended to not be like, this is before obviously social media. So a lot of people didn't recognize famous people like they do now. So he's out there. There's a clip of him you can find on YouTube where some news reporter came and asked him. He's holding up a sign that says like, this movie's against Christianity or something. Some news station like comes over. It's like, what do you think? He's like, it's just terrible. This is destroying. Like, it's just so funny that something like that could.
Crazy. Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
This week, movie space is Begonia. I think is that how we say it? Begonia.
Yeah, I believe
I think
so.
so. Obviously, the Emma Stone potentially is an alien, or isn't she? Who's to say? Find out when we watch the movie. Also, did you see Yorgos is finally this week said
He's taking
no,
a break.
He's taking a break. He's like, that's it. I've done enough. And you know what? To be fair, my dude has shut out 4 movies over like 2 years. I feel so. Yeah, fair enough. In the TV front, I was having a look before because I actually remembered this segment this week, and shock, it's crazy. There is a show coming to Disney Plus called Disney's Twisted Wonderland, the animation, which is some anime thing, but it's like they're going to Wonderland and everything. I don't know. I haven't watched the trailer. I haven't done anything. I just looked at some images and went, that looks cool. So I'm picking that.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm keen for Begonia, but I will say I'm looking forward to A Ballad of a Small Player, the latest film from, who is it? Edward Berger, starring Colin Farrell, in which he plays the man hooked on drinking and high-stakes gambling. Not a surprise. I remember seeing the trailer for this. Looks pretty solid. On the TV front, the latest season of Star Wars Visions is dropping this week. So I'm sure we'll talk about that over on our Star Wars podcast, Holocron Injuries, at some point. Also, the latest season of Witcher is finally here, which I'm surprised has finally been made. Did you end up watching the trailer with Liam Hemsworth as Geralt? It's interesting how the fall off on that show.
Yeah, it's huge fall off. Crazy. That show had like a 2 season
At least for
high.
us, we watched the first 2 seasons and then
Loved
the
it.
3rd season dropped.
Yeah, and didn't
And
care.
the news
really.
of
Yeah,
Henry Cavill not
killed our,
returning
yeah,
kind of killed
the.
the interest, I guess.
I think so. At least it did for me a bit. Yeah.
Maybe we'll go back one day, but unlikely. I'm trying to think if there's anything else.
Well, there is, but you're only allowed to pick 2 things. So
Rules have been meant to be broken. Good Fortune. I also want to check out this week. Yeah, let's know what you're excited to watch this week by finding us on social media by going to explosionnetwork.com/follow. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review at Apple Podcasts or Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars. Any can leave 5 stars or just tell people about the show. And if you want to find other ways to support us, head over to explosionnetwork.com/support. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.